Hi everyone, and welcome to lesson 11 of IQ Designer and My Design Center. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to take a design that you have scanned and turn it into something that looks like this. So we're going to be using the region properties and filling in our line scans with something pretty. Now you could use the fill option, you could use your stipple, you could use your fancy patterns. It's up to you. On this particular design, I thought it was more suitable to use the pattern fill as opposed to a stipple or a fancy pattern. All right, so let's go over to my screen to see how I did this. And I'll be working with 3 samples so you can see different ways of how to manipulate a design by adding the region properties. The design is now scanned, so I'm going to make my background temporarily disappear by pressing my right arrow key. Notice I'm using a stylus because with what I'm about to do, adding the colors, it's a lot easier to use the stylus than your finger. First things first, I want to adjust my outline. So I'm going to press next, lock everything together just to make sure all my lines change to the same line property that I would like. And I've already done this before in a sample, so I know I'm going to press this zigzag stitch. I'm going to change it to the diamond stitch and press OK. And I'm going to take my diamond stitch all the way down to the lowest setting. What I will also do is right here on each diamond, it's going to go over each diamond, each individual diamond 5 times. I don't like that. I'm going to set it down to the lowest limit because when I actually embroider this, I'll probably do it on a knit, and the more stitching you have, it's really going to pull in that knit. I have to worry about push-pull compensation, and I just want to reduce that outline down to 2 because I think I will get better results. I'm going to press set, and now I'm going to preview just to see how this looks. Press OK, and let's see how that diamond stitch looks. All right, I think I like that effect. And I'm going to press return and go back to the main screen right here. So this is where I'm going to start adding my colors. And to do this, I'm going to get the previous picture of what I worked on before. So I know I have a reference as far as what colors I'm going to use. All right, so we're going to be working with the region properties down here, and I'm going to go into my notepad and I'm going to select the center color. So I believe I use this color right here, this mid-orange, and make sure that I have my satin stitch designated as the type of fill that I want to use. Press OK, and if it's a little bit hard to press in certain areas, make sure you magnify. So this makes it a little bit easier to touch exactly where I want. Make sure you have your fill tool highlighted and then just press the center. Okay, so I have that taken care of. I also know, looking at my picture, I'm going to want to touch in these small areas. Again, it's really hard. I'm going to magnify it a little bit more. All right, so then when I do that, I will touch all the areas that I want to change. And actually, I'm going to change this one. I'm going to press undo a couple times because in my picture, I know I just did every other one for this particular color. Okay. And from here, I know that I filled in this area right here. And if I need to move my magnification, I'll just scroll up here and move my red bounding box around so I can see the part that I want to work with. Now, if you don't have this secondary screen, it means you have an upgraded machine. You might have a pan hand down in your tools. You will select the pan hand, and then you will be able to move around to the area that you want to manipulate or change. Now, once you select the pan hand and you go to the area, make sure you reselect that tool, that fill tool for the region properties to be able to apply the color or the fill that you would like to use. I'm going to switch colors right now, so I'll go into my notepad and I'm going to select the white. Again, keep it at the satin fill because I know that's what I want to use for this particular design, and make sure the fill tool is highlighted, and I'm going to touch the smaller areas right here, and I have to highlight my red bounding box in my upper screen, go down to this area over here, And then I'm going to switch gears now and change to a different color. So I'll change to my pink, and I'll go into my notepad, change to the pink that I want to use. I like that darker pink, and press OK. And then I'm going to fill in my little points right here. So here, 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 and you can see why a stylus makes this a lot easier. And then let's see, where else can I do this? I'm going to fill it in. Well, actually, I have the magnification set at 400%. So I'm just going to work from the inside going out. This area right here, I want to be green. So I'll go into my notepad. I'll select this green shade right here, press OK, and then make sure my fill tool is highlighted and touch that area right here. I also know I'm going to do each individual area here. Again, you want to move the red bounding box or use your pan hand, and then just select everything you want to change into a particular color. All right, so now I'm going to work inside here. I want these to be a lighter shade of pink. Go into my notepad. I'll choose a lighter shade of pink, press OK, and then just fill in, make sure the fill tool is highlighted, and just fill in these areas right here. And use my magnification box up here and fill that in. And then I'm just going to go to the outsides now. I know I want these areas to be the darker pink. Press the notepad, dark pink, press OK, and just select those areas. And go down here. Again, you're going to have to scroll around or use that pan hand. Okay, let's see what else I have to do. All right, so inside these areas right here, I wanted that to be yellow. So there again, I'll go back to the gold and I will select these areas in here. And you'll have to do a lot of moving around to put those colors in where you want to. Go over here. And you get the idea of how to fill this up. Now let's say you are going to fill in something and you accidentally choose the wrong thing, or maybe you accidentally touch your screen. Remember that you can undo what you've done to make a correction there. And maybe when you're finished and you go back, like let's say you go back out to 100%, you're viewing your whole design right here, and maybe you realize that you forgot to, fill in something. You can always go back and do that. I'm almost finished with this design here, so I'm going to fill in my last color, and this is going to be a dark pink. Again, it's a lot of moving around. I do prefer the old style screen where I can move around my magnification box, then the pan hand, but that's just something that we have to deal with. I'm sure the companies think that's an improvement, but for what I'm doing right here, I actually prefer to have the two separate screens. All right, from here, I am done. I'm going to check it out by pressing next and then press preview and OK, and let's see how this looks. All right, so this should look exactly like the printout that I showed you before. And it does. I'm really happy with this. And I want you to pick a design very similar to this where you have evenly spaced lines and the lines are of a uniform even width. And this is going to allow you to create a design similar to this to your liking. And I want you to get creative, apply different line properties, experiment. You do not have to use the same colors I did. I don't know if I really like these colors all that much, but it worked out for what I wanted to create and to show you. All right, so when you're finished here, as always, make sure you save it in My Design Center by pressing that red arrow into the pocket and then select whether you want to save it on USB or in the machine. I selected in the machine, and then you can set your design, press OK, and now it is a design in which you can stitch out because you are in the embroidery module. I do like to save it in this embroidery module, so I'll just press, I will advance to this screen right here, press memory and select my machine. And now I have it saved in my machine as well. So I am ready to stitch this out if I would like. Here's the second design I'm going to change up and add colors and patterns. But what I'm aiming to do is to take out the whole border as well as all of this extra right here. All I want to have on my screen is the mermaid, and then I'm going to color in the mermaid with greens and blues and just really jazz this up. All right, so let's scan this And then I'll take you over to the screen and show you how I'm going to do that. Here's the scan mermaid, and normally I would just crop out the magnets, but this time I'm going to crop more of the design because I know I just want the mermaid anyway. So I can get pretty close and crop out part of this design. I'll bring it down. Just crop out everything that I know I don't want. I can bring this up a little bit here, but just make sure you don't want to crop anything off of the mermaid. Okay, once you have this done, press OK. And then you can work with the grayscale detection. Let me go all the way over to the right, see how that works out. I think I like it better in the middle. Let me just retry it. Again, this is something, maybe one over to the right. Let's retry that. Okay, I'm going to stick with this one right here, set the design, and here we go. So from here, I'm going to make the background disappear, press the right arrow key. I'm going to rotate this now because it's just a little easier to work with if I can see her right on. Okay, so from here, I'll press OK, and I'm going to definitely magnify this and use my eraser tool. All right, I'll choose my largest eraser, and because I know that the largest eraser is going to make this a little bit quicker to do. And again, I'm going to move around with the pan hand and really get in there and erase everything that I don't want. I'm just going to do a quick erase because I have to get in really close to the mermaid. So you just want to take care of just the easy stuff first. All right, there we go there. Bring it down. And some of this is kind of hard to see. You got to watch how close you get here. You may have to zoom out and zoom back in because you need to see the overall design to be able to do this. Go down here. Now what I'm going to do is speed this up a little bit, and then I'm going to slow it down when I get to the areas of detail that I have to erase. Most of the extra background has been removed, so this is where I really have to zoom into 800%. And I'll use my magnification, and I'll go around, and I'm going to make my eraser a little bit smaller, and I'm also going to make it a square because I think that is going to be easier. And now I'm going to go in there and just really get in those little nitpicky areas, taking out exactly what I don't want. Because remember, any one of these will digitize, so we don't want to have stuff in there that we don't need. Over here, I'm going to go up here. And if you make a mistake and you cut into something, just press undo. Take a little bit off of there. There we go. Got a double, oh, see, I made a mistake right there. And so I'll get close and just delete what I don't want. And again, move this up. Got a little bit of extra stuff here going on. So just be careful. Again, the stylus really helps. You don't want to have to use your finger and do this. So I'm going to go all the way around and clean it up. Right now I'm going to get into some nitpicky work. If you see right here, I have a lot of pixels in here. I'm going to go and clean this up a little bit. And maybe, see now, this is part of her hair. So I have this opening here, which is not good. So let me just undo this and just take out this part right here. So I don't want that opening there. So I had to go back and correct this. And I'll just try to clean this area up in here. And over here I have, I clean that up. It's almost like you have a really thick area of the line, and I don't like that. That's just from experience, knowing what I do and don't want. And then right here, maybe I'll clean this up right here. And just move around to find any areas that you don't like. Here, I got a little pixel sticking up right there. Go around. Now this area right here, I have to clean this up. And you know, just careful attention to detail goes a long way at really improving this design. I don't think this design was that hard to turn into what I want. And then I'll scroll down here. Again, you have some pixels over here you want to take out. Just watch about creating an opening. You don't want to leave a hole there, or else when you go in to fill in a color or a pattern fill, it'll just fill up the entire screen. I got a little thick pixel right here. Take that out. Let's see if I can take this out. I don't know. No, I'm going to leave that in. Some things you don't want to change. And let's go down here. I have a lot of stuff right here I'm going to take out. All right, so I'm going to finish cleaning this up, and then we'll come back and we'll add some color. I zoomed into her face because when I look at the picture, a lot of the detail was left out of her face, so I have to decide how I'm going to handle this. I know her chin area was more, I'm going to try working with that right there. Let me just undo that because I took out a pixel I didn't want. You could go in and redraw her chin if you would like. I may do that just to make sure her chin is not as angled into a point. Right here on her eye, I'm going to use my pencil tool and maybe add in some pixels, see if I like that. And see if I can get her eye better. I kind of like that a little bit better. And maybe I'll just take out this one right here. Whoops, so now I'm adding. So let me undo that and use my eraser tool. And let's see what I get right here. Maybe I want to draw in her mouth again. And I'm not going to get the detail of her lips, but I can try to improve what I got here. And that's what I'm aiming for. Maybe I'll do a line right there. All right, so I kind of like what I have right now. Maybe I will take out pixel right there. Oh, took out too many, but that's okay because I can always draw it back in. There we go. All right, and then I will fix her chin right here. And a little too angular on the chin maybe, so I will go into my eraser and maybe I'll redraw my pencil tool. But this just goes to show you what you have to do to clean up a design, and I think this is pretty good. Again, right here, a little thick right there. Let me undo that because I took something out I didn't want to take out. And I think I am going to now add the color. All right, so, you know, every time you look at this, sometimes you go back and you think, oh, I should just add a little bit more. All right, there, I think I like it. All right, so let's go and add some color. Here's our mermaid, and let's go and see what colors we have. Go into my notepad, and I want to concentrate on blues and greens. So I believe I'll use this blue, and let's see, what green can I use? Maybe I will use this green. I don't know how that's going to look, and I don't have to use the colors that I have already set. I could change them whenever I want. So let's go into and press OK. We'll go back, and I'm going to zoom in now to 400%, and I'm just going to randomly just highlight certain areas and just add the color. And I want you to go and do something similar. Try to pick a more complex design so you can do all of these different things. Now we're working with something a little bit more intricate, and then I'll join you back here when I have most of this filled in. At this point, my mermaid outfit is mostly colored in, and I'm going to bring this magnification up to about 400% so you can see this a little bit better. And I use several different shades of blue, gray, green, and you get as creative as you want with this. I haven't colored anything in yet except for this, and now I'm going to press next to see how this looks, and then preview. It's going to look crazy because remember, all of our line attributes will default to that satin stitch. So I'll press return. And notice right up here, this is a fill stitch right here. So I don't want to change a fill stitch. I'm going to press my left arrow key, go back to at least one component of this design that has that line property attribute. I'm going to link all the line attributes together for that satin stitch, which will be the whole design, and change this to a running stitch because it's going to look a heck of a lot better as a running stitch. Press OK, press preview, press OK. Now let's check this out because we're going to really see the colors of that mermaid outfit pop. And let's see if I can zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, there we go. And notice I have all of my line properties have changed. So I'll bring this back out and we will go into our first screen by pressing return, cancel. I'm at this screen again. So what I want to do is fill in her hair, fill in her skin tone. Everything about this I can modify to the way I see fit. So whatever skin color you want to put in, you can do that. Whatever eye color you want to use, whatever hair color. The fin right here for the mermaid tail, color that in any way you want. So I'm going to do that to mine, and then we're going to come back and analyze the design. When you're filling in your colors, I want you to pay careful attention to what can happen here. I'm making her hair 2 different shades of brown, but watch what happens when I try to fill this area in here. I try to just get her hair there, but it's spilling out to everything all over the screen, which means there is a hole in this area right here. So if I use my pan, my magnification box and scroll down, I can see, I'm just looking for the border right here. There is a little hole right here. So watch what happens. See how it just spills right out and fills up the entire screen. So I'll press undo. You may have to hunt around for holes. If you find a hole, use your pencil tool and fill in the gap. And I can't find where my hole was again. Let me scroll down. Let's see over here. Find that hole and just fill it right in. Okay, and you may have to go back and clean it up. Sometimes I just move my pencil around, which creates more pixels, but there again, you can go back with your eraser tool and clean it up. At this point, I'm done with my mermaid. Let's zoom in and check out this mermaid. I gave her 2-toned hair. Now I just filled the flesh in with a white color so I could see the detail. When you are stitching this out, feel free to change that to whatever color you want. If you want dark brown skin, you know, more of a whiter, lighter skin, you do what you want because this is your mermaid. You could give her blonde hair, black hair. I gave her like a 2-tone red and brown. Let's check this out. I'll press next, press preview, press OK. And let's see how this looks. I was about ready to send this to the embroidery module, but then I just discovered one thing. I looked at my picture and I realized that she was basically sitting on her bum and her knees were coming up in front of her. Okay, so that's fine. So I originally was thinking about, you know, erasing this area right here, but I think what's throwing me off is this area right in here. And when I looked at the original picture, you're going to see right here, this is the part that I actually digitized as part of her tail, and that's what I want to remove. So I'm going to go back and return, and I'm going to delete this area right in here at the lower left. So I started erasing here, and I'm going to erase as much as I can, erase some here, you know, but as far as getting really close, that can be difficult. So I'll show you a tip of what I'm going to do, and it's something that I've never talked about before. If I go into my region properties and go into my notepad, there is a no stitch icon right here. So when I press this and press OK, I'm going to make sure that I use my fill tool, no stitch option, and touch that blue, and that way it will not stitch out. Now it may not take everything out, so again, go up there and maybe this one, I don't even know if I'll touch that one right there. There are a couple other areas. I'm going to go in here and just delete that with my eraser and take that. But that no stitch option can be really helpful to removing items that you don't want in. And going in after the fact, after you've added all the color, that can be kind of tricky. And even if I look at my picture, even right here, this area, I could go in and delete my pixels for the outline, but this is an area that should not stitch out as well. And the only reason you know this is to actually go back and really examine what you have. I see right here, I left out 2 portions here that I could color in. So I'll go into my fill tool and I'll choose a color there. It could be any color, and I will just fill, whoops, let me undo that and try to fill in these very small areas. Magnification really helps here. Let's see if I can go up and just move it over here, find that spot again, There we go. All right, so I'll bring it back out to 100%. And there we go. Now it really looks more like a mermaid. I'll press next and preview and okay. And I should get something that I can work with. All right, I am going to go and resave this and just put it in the pocket and put it in the machine. You could put it on USB. Now, I'm not really being, super detail oriented there. I see a couple areas that I might want to backtrack on, but let's just go through this. I'll set the design, press OK. And there we go. I am ready to stitch this out. Again, you have magnification right here. I might need to go back and adjust the angle of the stitches right here because the angle is giving me, I can see some gaps here. Those gaps, those white lines, they will show up as open areas. And if I magnify that even more, you can see that. Sometimes when you go back into IQ Designer or My Design Center and you simply change the direction of the fill stitch, that can go a long way to really filling in those areas that may show through. Also, you want to make sure that your undersewing is on. And also you might want to change your density to make sure that it gives you more coverage in some of those areas as well. All right, experimentation is key. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. And I hope you scan more and pull it all together. And if you have any questions, please put it in the comments of this video or in my Facebook group, Cyber Sewing School, and I will definitely try to help you out. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. And until episode 12 or lesson 12, I want you to scan, 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 and really practice these techniques. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bonus Tips and Tricks. Now, on my screen, I have 5 different shapes, and I want to highlight this because this is something you may encounter if you are scanning something to create a design, or if you're importing a JPEG. And if you don't know how to import a JPEG to create a design, I will show you how to do that in a future video. But I have 5 designs up here that I have just created. I filled in with the dark color so you can see the concept that I'm trying to teach you. I'm going to press next, press preview, and press OK. I did not change the line attributes. They're going to be satin stitch, but I want you to pay attention to something that is happening here. If you look really closely, you can see white spots here. I can see white spots in here, and I can also see white spots on the black. I like to use dark colors to emphasize this. The red looks pretty good. I see a couple white spots on the orange. That's not too noticeable, but I'm really seeing it here and a little bit on the blue. So how do we go about correcting that? When I press return, if I want to highlight the shape that has some of those spots showing, all right, so I'm at the orange star. Okay, that was one of my problem designs where I was seeing some show through. If you see white spots on here, you're going to see it on your stitch out. Those are areas that won't be stitched. What you can do is manipulate the fill pattern of that star, and sometimes simply working with the direction of the stitches and also controlling the density does a lot to reduce that show through where there aren't enough stitches. Another thing you should always do is check out each design and turn your undersewing on. When you have, I don't know why it doesn't default to undersewing on. I guess they had a reason for that. But undersewing is those first layers of stitches. It almost looks like a grid that gives a lot of support to a larger design, and you really need that undersewing on. I'll go to this one. There was a little bit of show through, I think, on that one. Again, I'm going to turn my undersewing on and do this for each figure that has that fill stitch. And I'm just going to go through. Now right here, I'm accessing the line property, so I'm going to have to go through and make sure that I'm accessing all the fills. All right, I'll change this one, undersewing on. Press set. We'll go a little bit more. Again, undersewing on, and do it for every single one. I just find you're going to get a lot better results because you need those supporting stitches. All right, let's see what happens when I preview these designs that I have on the screen. Okay, did not affect anything. I'm still getting show through here, and show through here. I see the white spots. Press return. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll try changing the angle of the stitches. So I'm going to press manual, press, let's choose 75 and press set. Let's see if this does the trick. Press OK. All right, it took out some of that show through, but I'm seeing show through in other places. So what you may want to try is to just adjust your density on that. Go up one tick, set that design, press preview. Let's see what happens. Remember, this is not digitizing software, but just by changing the density, that did the trick. I'm going to go up to the triangle here because I do see 3 areas of show through on this side and a little bit here and here. Press return. There again, I'm going to highlight that particular symbol. Make sure you see the fill stitch property in the green, and once you do that, let me try adjusting it to 60%. So I'm changing the direction of the stitches. Let's see if that does anything. And it did. It really took a lot away. Now I could go back and increase the density, but remember, I'm mindful of what the strengths of MyQ Designer and iQ Designer are and what are their weaknesses. So I'm really not going to touch that. I see just a speck here and speck there, but overall I think that's pretty good. Press return, and I'm going to go to the star because I did see a little bit there. So again, orange fill pattern. I'll change the direction of the stitches. Let me try going to 90%, press set, press preview, and let's see what we got. All right, I'm still getting a little bit down here. Now, sometimes if you change from 90 to 75 to 60, you may get the desired result that you want without having to change the density. So I could play around with this, but I'm just, for the sake of showing you how to access this particular icon right here, I'm going to change the density on this one to 100%, 110%, press set, and press preview, press OK. Let's see what we got. All right, I am really happy with how this looks. I have minimized a lot of that white show through that I would get. You would see the fabric or the fabric underneath that fill stitch, and that's what you want to reduce. So playing with your direction of your stitches, the density, and make sure your undersewing is on is going to be really important. All right, so that covers what I want to cover for today. These were your bonus tips and tricks. So if you're using the fill stitch, make sure to turn your undersewing on and also check for those white spots after you press preview. When you see that final product, you want to make sure that you have minimized those white spots because you will see the show through on your stitch out. All right, you guys, I hope this helps you in your quest toward getting beautiful designs.